Good day, readers. Thank you for joining me for lesson 27. We are starting at column 1. If you need a quick moment to get your book and packet, press pause for a moment. Otherwise, get ready at lesson 27. Column 1. All the words in column 1 have more than one syllable. The first syllable of each of the words is underlined, so we're going to break them into parts. Word 1, the underlined part is thun. The whole word is thunder. What word? Right, thunder. Word 2, the underlined part is shall. The whole word is shallow. What word? Yes, shallow. Word 3, the underlined part is blind. The whole word is blinding. What word? Yes, blinding. Word 4, the underlined part is some. The whole word is somehow. What word? Correct, somehow. And word 5, the underlined part is light. The whole word is lightning. What word? Lightning. Let's do column 1 the quick way when I touch my nose. Get ready. Here we go. Thunder, shallow, blinding, somehow, lightning. Good work. Column 2. What is word 1? Right, moaned. A moan is a sound that people make when they are in pain. Here's a moan. Everyone, try making a moan. Ah, some of you were very loud. Word 2. What word? Funnel-shaped. Things that are funnel-shaped are shaped like a funnel. A funnel is a round tube that is wide on one end and narrow on the other. Word 3 is stumbled. What word? Good, stumbled. Word 4, stumbled is another word for tripped. So you could say he tripped over the tree root or he stumbled over the tree root. Word 4, what word? Good, allowed. Word 5, what word? Yes, tearing. You remember we had that word last time. Let's do this column the quick way. Get ready. When I tap my head, here we go. Moaned, funnel-shaped, stumbled, allowed, tearing. Good work, scholars. If you want to practice any of those, press pause for a moment, review those words. But if you're ready, we're going to part B. Part B. We're going to read the next story about Edna and Carla, but first, a little information passage today that's going to give us some facts about whirlpools. Everyone touching the title? What's the title of our information passage? Ready? Facts about whirlpools. Good. Follow along, please, and remember, I may have a couple of questions. Pointing fingers ready or bookmarks? Let's track. Facts about whirlpools. In today's story, you will read about a whirlpool. Here are facts about whirlpools. Whirlpools are made up of moving water. Oh, scholars, let's say that fact together. Ready? Go. Whirlpools are made up of moving water. Good. Let's remember that. A whirlpool is shaped like a funnel. Here is a funnel. It is wide on top and narrow on the bottom. So everyone, take a moment and touch the funnel. Right. Have you used a funnel before? Right. There's 2 times I can think of that I use a funnel. When putting gas in the lawnmower, I have a funnel that I can pour the gas into, and then it funnels through the narrow opening, right, into the gas tank of the lawnmower. Because it's a very small opening, I can use the funnel. Also, when I make pancakes, I put the batter into a tube so I can make shapes and designs, I like to use a funnel to pour the batter in because then it goes into the other container, which is very narrow. Right? So the wide part of a funnel is the top part, and the narrow part is the bottom. Let's continue. Here is a whirlpool. It is wide on top and narrow on the bottom. So everyone take a moment and touch that whirlpool. You can see it's the same shape as the funnel. The water in a whirlpool spins around and around. Something caught in a whirlpool goes around and around as it moves down. Readers, I want you to pause for a moment and read that passage aloud, to yourself, to a stuffy, to a pet, but read it aloud. It won't take you more than a couple minutes, and then we'll continue. All right, let's go to part C, our story about Edna and Carla. The title is A Giant Whirlpool. Are you ready? Here we go. A giant whirlpool. Pointing fingers. Now it was starting to rain. The small lifeboat was sliding up huge waves and then down the other side of the waves. Edna felt sick and dizzy. Just then, the boat reached the top of a wave, and Carla shouted, "I see land!" She pointed. The lifeboat slid down the wave, and Edna could not see anything but water. Does that make sense to everyone? Right? When you're up in the wave, right, you'd be able to see out far. But then when you come down, right, you're down here, the wave that's next to you is going to block your view out. Then the boat moved up to the top of another wave. Now Edna could see what Carla had pointed to, but it wasn't land. It was a wave, much bigger than the other waves. "Hang on!" Edna shouted. "A giant wave is coming toward us." For an instant, everything became bright as lightning shot through the sky. A boom of thunder followed. The huge wave was now very close to the boat. Edna looked up to the top of it. It was like a cliff of water with a white foaming top. Oh, did you hear the simile? Comparing the wave to a cliff. Somehow, the boat moved up the huge wave, up, very fast, and now faster. The boat was moving so fast that Edna couldn't see what was happening. More lightning, thunder. Edna had to close her eyes. She was dizzy. Dizzy. Scholars, think for a moment about all of that happening to you. Whew. The boat wasn't just moving up, it was moving around and around. The boat was moving so fast that Edna could hardly tell which direction was up and which direction was down. But she could see that the boat was on the top of a huge funnel-shaped cone of water. The boat was being sucked into a giant whirlpool. Edna tried to say something, but her voice wouldn't work. Scholars, hold that spot. Has that ever happened to you before where you want to say something but you can't really find your voice because either you're nervous or you're scared to say something or you're kind of in shock and you don't know what to say? That's what's happening to Edna. So I'm going to back up and start that paragraph again. Pointing fingers or bookmarks tracking, please. Edna tried to say something, but her voice wouldn't work. She pointed down to the bottom of the whirlpool. It seemed to be hundreds of meters below the tiny boat. The next things happened very fast. They happened so fast that Edna was never sure exactly what happened or why. First, there were large hailstones, hundreds of them. So let's think about that. That's what happened first. Large hailstones came. For an instant, Edna noticed them floating in the boat, which was quickly filling up with water. So much hail came down that everything seemed to be white. The hail was hitting the girls, but Edna couldn't even feel it. Suddenly, there was a great flash and a great spray of water. What do you think the great flash was? Did you say lightning? That's what I was thinking. So, scholars, we just passed by our blue star. The flash was blinding. So, hailstones and then a flash of lightning and a spray of water. The flash was blinding. Later, Edna thought a lot about that flash and that splash. Later, she talked to Carla about it. The girls figured out that the lightning must have hit the water right in front of their boat. The lightning must have hit with so much power that it sent the boat flying through the air. Imagine that, scholars. So, lightning hitting the water so hard that it sent the boat flying. Now, do they really remember exactly what happened or in what order? No, they don't. The only thing they remember was a splash and something that rhymes with splash. Oh yeah, flash. Ready to continue? After the flash was the giant splash. That must have been the splash that the boat made when it came down. The boat must have landed far from the whirlpool. The hail continued to fall for a few minutes. Then it stopped, and a steady rain began to fall. For hours the rain came down. The wind died down, and the waves became smaller and smaller. Finally, the rain stopped. Without any warning at all, it stopped. The sea was calm again, and Edna was sick. Edna didn't want to talk. She didn't want to move. She was dizzy. She was lying near the back of the boat. The boat was half filled with water now. Edna moaned. Oh. She wasn't sure she knew where she was anymore. So, scholars, I'm going to stop there and have you read the rest of the story to yourself. But again today, I want you to find out 3 things as you're reading. So see if you can find them. Listen carefully. First, find out how far from land the boat was when Edna looked around. So how far from land is the boat when she looked around? Find out how deep the water was. So how deep the water was. And find out what Edna did when she realized where the boat was. So how far from land? How deep is the water? And what did Edna decide to do? Right? Or what she did. Pause and finish that reading. And then I'm going to ask you those 3 questions. All right, let's see how you did. So, where did the boat end up? Right, it's near land, in some shallow water. About how far from land is the boat? Remember, I asked you to find that out. Did you say half a mile? That would be correct. Now, the second thing I asked you to find out, how deep is the water where the boat was? Right, about a meter deep. So a meter, similar to 3 feet. So if you have a ruler at your house or a yardstick or a tape measure, see if you can find about how deep a meter of water is. And what did Edna do when she saw the land? Right, she said, land! And she got out of the boat. Why do you think she wanted to get to land? Yes, she's feeling dizzy. She's quite seasick and dizzy from what's been happening. So she has to wade through the water, luckily only about a meter deep, but a half a mile of walking through the water to get to that land. And that, scholars, is where our story ended today. Wow. So, I'm going to stop there, and let's take a look at your assignment for today. All right, scholars, looking at our packet for the Edna and Carla stories, we're looking at lesson 27. So the first question is sequencing events. Put the events from today's story in the correct order by writing 1 by the event that happened first, 2 by the event that happened second. You'll be familiar with this, right? We worked on it a few different times in The One and Only Ivan, right? So you're going to use the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you have to decide, of these 5 things, which thing happened first, right? Which thing happened second, third, fourth, and fifth. Right? Now, what might help everyone, if you're having trouble with this, and it seemed like some of you are having a little trouble, it might help to think of all these things, which thing happened first, and put a 1 by it, and then jump all the way to the other end and think, all right, reading through these, which thing happened fifth? Right? So, when you look this over, can you find what happened first and what happened fifth, and then fill in the other things? I would recommend grabbing your reading book, looking through your reading book, right? Try to find each of these sentences in the book and see what happened first, what happened fifth, and then go back and figure out second, third, and fourth. Then for number 2, which event is the scariest to you? So of the 3 things that happened, right? The lightning, the huge wave, or the whirlpool. So the scariest event is you're going to write in this blank, lightning, or huge wave, or whirlpool, because blah, 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 right? Which one do you think, which one for you would be the scariest? Lightning, huge wave, or whirlpool? And then you're telling why that one would be the scariest for you. That, scholars, is the connection part. Answering this, right? You're making a connection to you. And then, of course, watching capital letters and punctuation in that part. Now, the other part today of our rubric isn't quite correct, right? Because you don't really, part of the question in your answer, right, would be this one where you're writing lightning, huge wave, or whirlpool from the question. But then this part, right, answering them all, right? So make sure you do this part and this part. And then this one, you don't really have 2 pieces of textual evidence to do today. But what this would be is you're going to get a point for your sequence, right? That you did this first part correctly. That's going to be how you get that 5th point today. All right? Remember, my recommendation is to go back into your book, double check those, right? I scholars have a sense of which one I think is first and second and so on. But I'm going to dig back into my book and double check myself, even though I feel like I have a good sense of it already. Remember, when you're finished, submit a photo of this assignment, this page, to your reading teacher. And as always, make sure you are rereading today's story to practice your fluency. Thanks for joining me. Scholars, have a great weekend.